Well, couldn't you say that men are the same thing by this logic?
Well, I guess biological males can't make babies, so
Sure you
they're
can.
not. Okay.
Because can a biological female make a baby alone? No, you need a biological male. Therefore, by this line of thinking, biological males are the same thing, just pieces of meat and baby-making machines.
Okay.
Is that not what all of us are?
Well, just
For the right girl out in this park,
well,
maybe.
here's the important part. It says just. Do you agree with that? That we're just baby making machines and pieces of meat? Or is
No,
there more
absolutely
to us?
not.
Okay.
Absolutely not.
What else is there to us?
Well, the simple fact that you're able to stand here with this opinion and have this opinion, stand in a park with the conscious intent of having people walk in and try to change your mind,
Okay.
I believe that makes you more than just a piece of meat and baby making machines. Because you know what are pieces of meat and baby making machines? A bunch of the pigeons that just flew in here. You can see them if you look around. Just a couple of squirrels and rats. Perhaps they are pieces of meat and baby making
Why would
machines.
you say that?
Though I wouldn't know that for a fact because I'm not a rat or a pigeon. So I
Well-
don't know what their society might be like.
Well, I'm not.
But
Okay, well, let me ask you. I'm not you, but I shouldn't value you as just a piece of meat, correct? Because I understand that just like myself, just like those pigeons, just like those rats, they value their lives,
sure.
right? They have conscious thoughts, correct?
Well, I mean, I guess that depends on what you define as consciousness.
Are they conscious or unconscious?
Well, they're certainly conscious, but
Okay.
I'm not sure if they're conscious to the same degree that a human being is conscious, but they're certainly conscious for a fact.
Not all humans are on the same conscious level, right?
I agree with that.
If you're talking about, I would say that you're either conscious or you're not conscious. There's not a spectrum in that.
Well, I would say
However,
not conscious is like this ground right here, maybe my phone,
Right.
maybe
So you're
this microphone.
You're either sentient or you're not sentient.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay, so as far as pigeons, rats, other non-human animals, do they value their lives?
Of course.
Do they think about things? Do they have emotions?
Yeah, of course. But
Okay.
I do think there are different levels to consciousness, though, which is why I ultimately disagree with this statement here. Because also, you didn't specify female humans. You said females in general. So, and I would also disagree with the statement in general, but especially with humans, because there's actually ways we can measure this too, because they have brainwave scanners that they can measure brain activity when it responds to certain stimuli, or however you might put it.
Sure.
But and this varies in different animals. So humans are definitely at the top level of that spectrum, as far as we know, anyway.
Not all humans, right? There's some humans that don't have the
That are
same.
dumb?
Well, or they lack the capacity to have high complex thinking, right? For whatever reason, they were born like that. They got into an accident, etc. But you said you disagree with this in a statement in general, not just human females. Can you hold the position that you're against that, but then support the meat and dairy industry, the meat, egg, dairy
Yes.
industry?
Absolutely, yeah.
How can you support this as you're objectifying
Well, I
other females?
I don't support this. I think this is terrible. We need to move to a more.
Are you vegan?
Oh no, I'm not vegan. I eat meat every day.
If you're not vegan, you're literally supporting this and going against the values that you claimed that you had. So what is the difference between objectifying a female human and objectifying a non-human animal?
Well, I think there's maybe two answers to that question, possibly.
Sure.
On the one end, I could use the sort of food chain sort of argument as far as that. I mean, it's just kind of the way things are. It's not necessarily ideal.
There's
but
sexism.
but
That's what there's racism, sexism, ableism, all these things. That's the way they are. But they are that way because we've been indoctrinated to view certain individuals as lesser than. So what I would push back on is, for you, what is your justification? Being that you said that it's wrong to view other individuals as
my
just
justification is that if those animals were left in the wild, they would be eating other animals too. This is just how the earth works,
meat.
unfortunately.
They were raped into existence because you paid for that to happen.
Well, I actually buy types of meat that are more friendly, I would say. I mean, I eat meat because it makes me feel better,
did that
but I
individual-
intentionally buy meat that I think was raised better. But yeah, I agree with you. This is a terrible thing. This is why we need to invest in stem cell technology.
How do you humanely slit the throat of an individual who does not want to die?
Well, you can't do it humanely, right? I mean, that's just
Right.
the cost of being a human. We're at the top of the food chain.
No, I'm
It's just
asking you
like, I mean,
about
if those
the
animals were at the
individual.
top of the food chain, they'd be slit in our throat. I mean, that's just how it
So
is,
might equals right?
We're part of, with what?
So
with
might
this?
equals right
Yes.
to act violently towards another individual, a group of individuals, because you have the power to do so?
You can talk about morals, and I would agree with you morally, but as far as the way the world works, might does equal right, and that is a
I'm
fact.
talking about you personally. What is your justification for abusing animals and not living vegan? So you're
Because it
supporting
makes me feel better, and I have that luxury as a human. I mean,
You
it's
think-
a
so
terrible
might-
thing, but
so
that's the
might
reality.
equals right.
I'm not going to pretend like it's the morally right answer, but that is the right answer
This,
logically.
I'm asking you for.
But as far as what you're saying here, females are not just pieces of meat and baby making
That's
machines.
what you're paying for. You're going
No.
against that if you're not a vegan. Yes.
No,
that's
because
it,
they're
literally.
slaughtering males too. What does that
Is-
have to do with females?
Is sensory pleasure?
Are they not killing the male chickens too? Tell me
They are
that.
killing them.
Yeah, so what does that have to do with females?
Well,
with
I'm
with
just-
this sign, you're implying about female humans, which I completely disagree
I'm
with.
not-
But if you want to talk about animal rights, then we can talk about that too.
What's the difference between humans and animals that would justify a difference in treatment? And you suggested that sensory pleasure is your justification for paying people to rape and murder animals for you?
Oh, I don't think I said that. It's not sensory
did. You
pleasure.
said that you
I
like
think
the
there's
way
there's a biological and genetic component that certain humans operate better under a meat-based diet and certain humans operate better under a vegetarian-based diet. If you're one of the people who operates better under a vegetarian-based diet, then all the power to you. I think we need to move towards a level of meat, and I mean, look, this is terrible. I will not try and pretend like this is a good
Support
thing.
that.
No,
You
I do not
support
support
it.
that.
You literally
That's
support
why
that
there
if
should
you're
be
not vegan.
a company should create a product of meat that doesn't do this. People will buy it,
It's called
and people will
plant-based
eat it.
meat, and why aren't you
It's
buying
it's
that?
called stem cells, and if you all you need to do is kill one
don't need
animal,
to-
and then the stem cell will create meat that's real meat.
Well,
And I
we're
don't need to buy
talking about-
plant-based meat because my body doesn't operate perhaps the same way that yours does. And
We're both
honestly,
biologically humans, right? And we
Mm-hmm.
can survive off plants. According to the two largest registered dietitian bodies, the American and British Dietetics Association, they say that a plant-based diet is suitable for all stages of life. And there's no
sure, it's suitable, but some people are. I mean, just
What
like I
is-
mean,
what is
I could give you
stopping-
tofu, and maybe you feel good on that.
What is
I've
sto-
tried to go vegetarian for multiple weeks of a time in my
well,
life, and
vegetarians
I can
cause
tell you,
this to happen to animals. It is perpetual
the vegetarians are the bad guys now.
bad guys.
Oh wait, explain what you mean. Are you
So if
promoting
you're-
it? Well, I don't
if
know
you
what it has
buy-
to do with females, but
Okay.
I mean, we could talk
well,
about animal rights.
I'll explain to you.
Yeah.
So in order for me, just like any other mammal, we have to be impregnated. We have to be pregnant in order to give breast milk.
Yeah, male has
So-
to impregnate the female.
Right. So in the dairy industry, they actually get raped. They forcibly ejaculate the males, and they collect that semen. And they force it into the vagina of a female cow.
That's
9
terrible.
months. Yes, and you pay for it.
I mean, look, look at this park. Look at all the people in this park.
Well, I'm talking
you have
to
a population.
You right now. What is
yeah.
your justification for paying for the description I just said? For males to be raped?
Humans are at
for-
top of the food chain.
So
I
might
mean,
equals right.
that's the just yeah.
That's
that
what
that
you're
is.
saying.
But really, what you're asking is a core philosophical argument, and
Yeah, what's your justification for murdering animals and objectifying other females and males?
well, the
for your
justification,
pleasure?
and I'm not saying this is morally correct, but the answer to the question is that we have a human population to sustain, and the only way to sustain that population is through mass food production. And there should be greater regulations on mass food production.
Well,
There should be ways to actually ensure that animals are not being treated like this. Because I actually agree with you. Morally, I actually agree with you 100%. I know I'm arguing with you right now, but I actually agree with you completely.
Well, how do
The
you,
thing is,
how do you treat other animals right if the end goal is to slit their throat and eat them?
the thing is, how can you stand here arguing about this when humans are being treated like shit? Have you walked throughout New York City? Have you seen all the homeless people, all the fucking crackheads in this park? Like, pardon my
what
language,
are you doing about
but
that?
what am I doing about
Can
that?
you do something about that?
I
and
have
not
to do
cause
some-
it and
The reality
not
of this
paying
country-
for this to happen? You could do both. You could hold two things at the same time, right?
Of course, but
I
the
could be-
reality of
I
this
could be
country is
against
that
sexist.
every human has to go for themselves in this country.
Can I just-
and
can I
that's,
just
I mean,
make a
look,
statement?
families have to feed their kids. That's why this happens, because
You
this
have
is the
to feed them.
cheapest way. This is the cheapest way to
not.
ensure, but it is.
No, it's
What are you
not.
going to do?
You
Give your
have
kids
to.
McDonald's? I mean, that's what a lot of people have to do ultimately. The reality is a lot of
You do
people have to.
I'm talking to
I don't
you.
have kids, no.
Right. So what is your justification for paying people to rape and murder other animals for your sensory pleasure?
I don't. I purchase brands that are locally raised. When I
And
when
what
I
does
can.
that have to do with the fact?
Because they don't treat them like that. There are brands that you could
standard
seek
legal
out.
practice.
Yeah, standard
Again,
is the
how do
cheapest
you-
source of meat that you could
how
buy.
do you slit
You could
someone's
buy
throat?
brands that don't treat animals like this, and
They're
I
getting
encourage
their
everyone to
throats
do that.
slit. They're getting their throats slit. How
And
do
the-
you do that in a nice way?
And the more people who buy brands that don't treat the animals like this, the greater those brands grow, and the less these people in the industry have a share of the market. And that's what you have to do. Buy meat, if you can afford it, buy meat that treats animals better. Because until we have the technology that could actually sustain people, you kill one one pig and you have pork for billions of people. Until we have that technology, then this is unfortunately
So
the
you're
evil that we
okay
have to live with in
just-
society. No,
you're
I'm not okay with it.
objectifying other females, as so long as they're not your species.
Well, they're males too, right?
What's the difference of doing that to human animals and doing that to non-human animals?
But could you tell me what it has to do with females? Because they're killing males too here in
They're
a terrible
killing
way.
both. Okay, but I
Right.
just got this for attention. I think we've gotten over that part. What is your justification?
But you just brought it up again. I know, but you just brought it up again. So what does that have to do with females?
Well, you said you're against this statement, correct? And now I'm saying
Females are
that-
not just pieces of meat and baby. If you're talking about human females, absolutely not. Human beings
Okay,
in
so
general
what's
are
the
absolutely not.
difference? Excuse me.
Absolutely
I'm
not.
talking to you. What is the difference between treating a female human like that and treating a non-human female like that?
Morally, there's no difference.
Okay, so
but
why,
this is
what
the
is
reality
your
of the world.
justification for you personally, because I'm not supporting that, what is your justification for going against your own values that you claim to have?
Well,
Because
when it
you're
comes
being
to female
hypocritical.
humans, I mean, perhaps I'm being hypocritical, but
You
that's
are
why
being
I support meat and animal products that, in my opinion,
Can we
support
farm
the.
human animals in a humane way, locally in my backyard?
Well, many
Can
have
I-
tried in history.
This is the conversation that we're having. If you're not
Yeah, no,
going to
that's
be
the truth.
intellectually honest about it,
What's
then
this
you
like?
can carry on.
What I mean, I can carry on if you want me to, but what's intellectually dishonest about that? People have treated humans in a terrible
Okay,
way.
but I'm asking you, what is the difference?
You ever heard of concentration camps? That's farming humans. That's what that
Okay,
is.
and what if they did it
Yeah.
in a nicer way?
What do you mean nicer way? What do you mean?
Exactly.
What's a nicer way?
You're saying that we should do this in a nicer way. I'm using your.
Yeah,
your
you can raise an
reasoning.
animal in an open field. You can make sure it has a good life because the truth is, when you kill an animal like this, you're also eating all the animal's fear. You're also eating all the
Okay, well,
animals.
we're not- the concern is about these individuals.
But I'm agreeing with
not
you right
about-
now.
Well,
I'm
you're
actually
not
agreeing with
agreeing
you. I
because
am
you're saying
because
that
you're killing.
you're
And look, the
literally
camera's
telling
focusing on
people-
that. So this is a great debate, by the way. I
You're
appreciate this.
literally telling people to eat other animals.
Yes, because
if they
that's
have
how
the
the fucking
privilege
world
to.
works. Yeah.
So what is? And you're saying that we should make
Those
these-
animals eat other animals in the wild too. Is that immoral?
So they don't have moral agency like you.
Do they not? Did you not just argue that they're on the same level of consciousness, therefore we shouldn't be doing this? You can't have it both ways. They're either on the same level of consciousness and this is wrong, or they're on a different level of consciousness and therefore it justifies what they do in the
I
animal
don't
world.
think you understand what consciousness means.
I do. I probably understand it equally well as you do. But you can tell me what your definition is.
Okay, so I'm talking about there's levels of comprehension, which is besides the point of,
Of
how
which
you
they are
should
on a lower
treat-
level.
Which how you should treat other individuals, because some of these animals that you pay to have their throat slit are more intelligent than some humans. Would
I
you?
absolutely agree with that, actually.
Okay,
I
so do
agree
you
with
think that we should put those humans in nicer concentration camps and raise them to
they're
have
not
their throats
humans.
slit? I'm asking you that question.
they're
What
not
is
humans.
the difference between doing that to these individuals and doing that
There's
to a group of humans?
there's an immense difference. You can measure it. You can measure the brain waves and you can scan their brains and respond to activity and you can see to
Okay,
what
so
level
if you match
can
the
take
human-
a dog,
if you
you can
match
take
the
any
human-
animal and you can you can see how their brain responds to a certain level of stimuli. We know for a fact, I'm not making this up. There's scientific fact that these animals have a lower level of consciousness. And I don't mean this in a way, obviously, it sounds like, oh, we're the humans, we're just
Well,
animals
yeah,
too,
you are,
right?
Because
But
you're
of
putting, at
course.
the end of the day, you are saying that because you're putting them in a slaughterhouse and having
But
a
that's what you
nitro
just said when I challenged you about how they would be killing other animals in the wild too. So, I'm just
Well,
curious
you
about
can't
your response to
reason
that.
with them, and they don't have another option.
Why not? Are they conscious or not?
They are conscious, yes,
Sure. Well,
but
why can't we
they don't
reason with
have
them?
a moral agency. Just like a human toddler, they don't have moral agency. They don't understand.
Human
right from
toddlers absolutely have moral agencies.
Really?
I actually believe that strongly. Absolutely.
Right. So you would get mad at a toddler if they
Yes.
went in their diaper and smeared shit all over their wall.
And what age
would
of the
get
toddler?
mad?
What age of the toddler? Because I absolutely think if it's a 1-year-old, they might know what they're doing. If they've had quite a few
so
diapers
you're-
before, they might know what they're
So
doing.
you conceded that toddlers don't have the same conscience.
A toddler, of course, doesn't have the same level
Okay,
of
so
conscience.
that's what
That's
we're
why they
talking
have
about.
18,
So we
17
should
more years to
slit their
grow up.
throat.
No,
Okay.
Absolutely
so
not.
why are you paying for that to happen to other animals?
because I personally feel better when I eat meat.
So sensory pleasure is justification.
No, not
for
sensory
raising-
pleasure, health, biology. Certain genetic
Again,
type
I
works
already
better with meat.
stated that you don't need to eat other animal products. Have you done?
Yes, I've
If you
been
were
vegetarian
provide-
for many weeks at a time. I've tried the vegetarian diet for weeks, and it did not work for me.
Well,
And that's what I'm
anecdotal
saying.
Evidence.
Yeah, you just asked me my anecdotal opinion. I didn't say
No,
that
I
at
didn't.
all.
I didn't. I asked for conclusive evidence. If you were presented,
Give me the conclusive evidence. I could show you conclusive. The thing about conclusive evidence is everyone's got their opinion, and you fund some study, and then you have the
let
opinion
me-
that you want.
let me ask you: if you felt better, murdering humans and eating them, would that be a justification to
But
do
you
it?
realize our taxpayer dollars are used to murder humans all around the world, right? You could be sitting here with a
You didn't
sign
answer
saying,
my question.
What's the question?
In your diet, if you felt better after murdering a human and eating their flesh, would
That's
it be
called
more-
cannibalism.
That's fine if it has a name. That's not. It's besides the question. Okay.
There's a reason why there's a name for it, because that's wrong. No animal in the wild
This is
eats
called
their own
animal
kind.
agriculture.
But
okay?
chickens don't eat other chickens. There's no animal in the wild that eats their own kind. Animals eat other animals, and that's
no,
a fact.
They do eat their kind. They do cannibalize.
It's pretty, I mean,
Okay, well,
it's
my-
pretty rare,
My
just like it is in
question
humans.
To you, I lost my thought because it's just very.
But this is a good debate. I actually like this.
My question to you is, if you felt better and gained health benefits from murdering other humans and eating them, would it be morally acceptable for you to do that if you can sustain yourself
But they're not.
doing so? I'm asking you a hypothetical question. Would it be justified for you to do
I think
so?
that question is absurd. Humans hurt other humans a
I'm
lot.
asking- follow the
You
question.
walk around New York City and you'll see
What's your
humans
name?
suffering all over
What's
the
your
place.
name?
Lucas.
Lucas.
Yeah.
Lucas, I'm going to ask you a question. Okay?
Yeah.
If I can prove to Lucas that by murdering another human and eating their flesh,
Murder is wrong in general, by the way. It's also wrong in this context.
so
but
why are you paying for it? But getting back to my question,
because
if it was, if
I'm
I
a
can
human
pro-
and I'm on top of the food chain.
if I can prove to you that murdering and eating other humans would be beneficial to you, would it be morally acceptable for you to do so? If you can still survive,
I challenge you to prove that to me.
it's a hypothetical.
It's
I'm
a
asking-
hypothetical that's completely based in.
So
I mean,
you're not
that
going to
hy-
be
Let's talk
intellectually
about the
honest.
reality.
You're
no,
not going to be
I am being.
intellectually honest.
That's
Okay.
why I'm rejecting that hypothetical
That's fine.
because it's completely outside
If
of
you
the
don't wanna
realm.
have this conversation,
We're
then
talking
that's
about
fine.
reality as it is. That's why I can
Okay.
concede to you
Do you
that this is
understand
morally
what-
correct.
do you understand
You are
what the
morally
purpose
correct, but you're
of-
logically incorrect. That's the thing that I'm trying to explain to you. You're
So,
morally 100% right,
the
but
point of a
logically
hy-
it's incoherent, and that's what I'm trying to. You could talk
The
hypotheticals,
point of
but
a
you're making no sense.
hypothetical is to test your logic, and you can't answer it because your logic is flawed, and you're projecting that onto
So,
me.
what would society
So if
look
you
like?
don't wanna-
No, let's
if
follow
you
your
don't wanna
hypothetical. No, I want to.
engage
Let's
in
do it.
this,
I want
then
to.
we
Let's
don't need
engage.
to.
No, I want to. Let's follow.
I'm asking you.
I
Fine,
want to.
If you want to engage,
Let's
then
follow
answer
your
the question.
hypothetical. What would society look like
No,
if
for
humans
you.
could eat other
I'm
humans
just
and be
saying for
nutritionally
you
good?
because you have some rare disease that you're claiming that you only feel better eating other
I have a
humans
rare disease. What's a rare disease?
that you need to cannibalize. Okay, in order
If
to
you're going to
feel
go
your
into the realm of
optimal-
personal insults, then I don't really need to engage in this. I like
Well,
the
it's not
discussion.
an insult. I'm proposing
You're
a
accusing me.
hypothetical.
Okay, let's hear it.
I already did. You have a rare disease that you need to cannibalize to fill your optimum. Is that morally justified for you to kill and eat
Is
other
that so
humans?
rare? I mean, that's a lot of people. A lot of people have tried the vegetarian diet and it
I'm
doesn't
talking
feel
about
right for them.
cannibal.
If you can
And I'm
go
not
well on a
arguing
vegetarian
for,
diet,
I'm
then
not
go for
arguing
it.
for vegetarianism because vegetarians also murder other animals.
So what should we eat? Dirt?
Do you know what plants are?
I guess they grow in the dirt. So you're serious?
Yeah. So if you're watching the screen, this is all the animals. The dairy industry, the meat industry.
Yeah, it's terrible. That's why you buy
The egg
brands that
industry.
treat their animals right.
No.
There are free-range
There's
chickens
no
you can
right
purchase.
way to do the wrong thing, and that's what we're showing on the screen.
Okay.
You can't objectify somebody in a nice way. You can't use someone as a resource in a nice way.
I have a
can't
hypothetical for
breed
you.
someone specifically for the purpose of slitting their throat in a nice, respectable way. These other individuals
you
are
can.
individuals. No, you cannot.
Humans have the capability to make this process, and obviously what's on your screen here is not that.
This is
but
standard legal practice. What you
No, but
think-
that's why I don't purchase standard legal processed meat. But that's another story entirely.
No, this is
Humans
what you're
have the
paying for.
capability because
you
of.
can deny that, but this is the reality of what you're paying for. You're paying
But
for
I'm not. I
individuals.
buy brands that don't do that.
Okay. Do you or do you not pay for animals to have their throats slit in a slaughterhouse or on the farm?
And maybe if you go eat a burger at a restaurant, maybe
Excuse
that's
me,
what
I'm
you're
talking
doing.
to you.
Yeah.
How are the animals murdered that you consume?
I mean, it's not pretty.
I'm asking you. How are they killed?
You probably know more about it than I do. I've
So
watched some
how
of the
are you
videos.
making an assertion as fact if you don't even know what you're talking about? You're saying
What's
that,
your question?
You're
You're
saying
asking
that
me for
you-
my opinion, and you said change your mind. I have a hypothetical for you.
I'm gonna give you a card, and you can take it or leave it, but I'm done.
No, I'll take it. I think you're morally
Okay,
right,
here you go.
but I think if you have a sign saying change my mind, you should actually be open to some arguments. I don't think you're here to get your mind changed. I don't think you're here to be open to any other arguments.
Right.
And
I actually don't have this position. Right. I'm
What are you
arguing-
doing here?
I'm
What are you
calling
doing here?
I'm calling you a hypocrite because if you
I'm not a
claim
hypocrite.
that you're against this and you support
You don't have this
dairy
position, but you're
negative
holding up a sign, and I'm the hypocrite. Okay, I guess we're done.
You're saying that you disagree with this and yet you support
Yes,
this.
because females, look, the camera should look at what the sign says. See, what this is a bait and switch. You're trying to lure people in with a blanket statement about what people
that's
assume
fine.
is humans, and then you're gonna go on with some animal agenda.
Because
I'm just
you
telling
don't
you
want to
that if you're
face
not
the
gonna,
reality. What's the difference between doing that to humans and doing that to non-human animals?
morally
You,
none.
As the oppressor, it would
Morally
be
none.
convenient for you to
But you're an
ignore
oppressor
your
too,
victims.
because you benefit from the society that has been created from humans consuming meat. You are here in this park. What other animal has created public
and
parks?
we've also
What do you-
enslaved people too. If this
Yeah, that
park
was terrible.
built on slavery, right?
It wasn't.
And I was benefited from that. Do you think that would be a
This is a
justification?
public park in New York
Are
City.
Are you listening?
Yes.
Would it be a justification for slavery for me to support slavery as of now? Because that's the argument that you're making.
What are you even talking about?
I'm using
See,
your logic
You're
against
jumping
you.
through hula hoops.
I
I'm
know.
so happy that this is on video. This is great.
Yeah. I hope you watch it and you actually.
Yeah, I'll watch
understand
the whole
that.
thing, and I'm sure. I mean, maybe some people will
Lucas,
too. I
what
hope.
point have you made?
The point I'm trying to make to you is that females are not just pieces of meat and baby-making machines,
Okay, so
particularly human females. And if you were gonna
What's the
make an
difference
honest,
between
the difference,
objectifying a human and objectifying a non-human animal?
the difference. Number one, humans are on top of the food chain.
So might
Number
equals
two,
right.
might equals
And we're
right.
not
Just
on
like
top
those
of the food
animals in
chain.
the wild kill other animals to sustain themselves if
Other
they weren't in
animals
there.
kill us too.
Hmm?
Other animals kill us.
So might equals right, right?
No, it doesn't.
But other animals kill us.
It's just a fact.
That is a
It's not-
fact.
it's
It's
not
also a
using
fact that
that-
other animals kill other animals
It's
for
not
their
using
food.
Nature as a.
But are humans not a part of nature? Is it not a sort
No,
of
we live
human-centric
in
argument?
A civilization aside from nature. Paying for animals to be
Why?
butchered
How?
for
How
you
can you
is
say
not
that?
natural.
How can you say that we're aside from nature? What about us is aside from
Because
nature?
you're paying someone to butcher another animal, to rape them, to genetically modify them, whereas they wouldn't exist in the wild naturally.
Well, that might be true, but where is that aside from nature? See, the thing that you're not seeing
you're
is that,
saying we're
but
a
like,
part of the food chain.
and I understand, you know, like you're here to make a point, but I actually agree with you on a moral perspective, and
No,
you
you're-
would actually
you're
reach
the
out to a lot
opposite.
more.
You're
Okay.
actually supporting what I'm vehemently against.
Okay.
Because you're
So do you
paying
want to
for-
make a change, or do you just want to stand out here with a sign? The people that you're trying to reach out to are people like me who agree with you morally,
What can
but
I-
who still eat meat.
What can I say to make you stop abusing animals for your sensory pleasure?
Say what I'm saying, which is buy meat that's sourced locally, buy from farmers that treat their animals right,
Yeah, but that's
buy from
morally
companies that are
abhorrent to
not the
slit
major
somebody's
corporations.
throat and to objectify other individuals as a resource.
And let's worry about all the humans who are suffering in this city, in this country.
Can you
America
not
is
do
falling
that?
apart. This
Can you
society
not
is
do
falling
that at the
apart.
same
And we're worried
time?
about, I mean, this is an issue, but
Okay,
can you not see our country falling apart
Can
around
you
us?
not murder animals at the same time as you pretend to care about other humans?
Pretend to care.
You pretend. I don't think you're a good person.
Well, I guess that's the end of this conversation. That's fine. I will take the personal insult because you've displayed, and you should be embarrassed by that because we're actually talking about a topic that I agree with you on.
Yeah.
But as soon as you go
agree
into
with
the
me
realm of
on
personal
as far
insults,
as far as
I haven't
telling
insulted you once
people-
personally. And
It's
honestly,
not
I do
about
think you're a
me.
good person. I just think you're kind of dumb, but that's okay.
No,
Because
it's
you
okay.
insulted me first. But you know, you're a good person, that's okay.
Well, good luck
But
with your virtue signaling. I'm sure you convinced many people that you're a
You're
good
convincing
person.
nobody. But you know what? I'm the type of person that you should be trying to convince because I agree with you.
Good night, Lucas.
Good night, whatever your name is. Good night, females are just pieces of meat and baby making machines. Change my mind, even though she has no intention of getting her mind changed. But I do agree with you morally, and I thank you for the debate before you
That's
insulted
why
me
you eat
personally.
other animals.
Yes, and
Because
that's why you don't
agree
care about
with that.
humans.
Sure.